But it's important that you respond to those surveys. So I guess I'll just that.
I will get started, and I promise I won't take too much of your time. Like Chuck said, we're the external evaluators of the project. We're the Office of Educational Innovation and Evaluation, but we always go by OEIE or EIEIO or OI, whatever you want to call it. So we'll go by all those things. So we're just going to give a brief overview of the work that we've done for the project. And essentially what we do is we fly up like 10,000 or 50,000 feet above the project. And we want to try to see what you guys are doing. You're down in the research, you're looking at what's happening on the ground, on the farms, in the soil, all those things, and we're up in the sky. So hopefully I'll be able to give you a bit of an idea of what's happening on your project from that viewpoint. So, there it goes. I'm a little delayed. Okay, so one of the things that we did this year, which we thought was important, is we kind of looked at your logic model that you created for the proposal, as well as looked at the proposal, and we sort of did a revised logic model for the evaluation so that when we're developing our data collections and when we're reporting things out, we can tie those to the logic model and say, hey, you guys are making progress towards these outcomes. And so we kind of did the work of making a logic model that was a little bit higher up and not so scientific, but more at the evaluation level, so that we could say, yes, you are increasing knowledge. Yes, you are sharing information. You are, students are progressing into agricultural careers. So we want to see those things. So we revised this logic model so that we had something to tie our data collections and our reporting back to. And we typically do this for a lot of our projects. And so we did this the early part of this year. So then some of the activities that we, yeah. Is it because I need to point to you? Oh, okay. So these are the things that we did. We analyzed the RU survey from the participants last year. We also contacted some of the farmers who are a part of the Farmer to Farmer Network and did a survey with them. We also talked to the leadership team, did interviews with them. And then we do something with the publications, and I got all their publications that people have reported to SCI, and we do a bibliometric and an altmetric analysis that's currently in process. We have a team member survey that's upcoming, so I will be reminding you quite frequently about that. And then we also are conducting the social network analysis, which is also in process. And I'm going to go over a few of these, but thank you, Anita. I do not have to share about the REU analysis, so I got to cut several slides. So any of you could go, thank you, but just don't do it right now because that might hurt my feelings. But we had great results with the REU, learning about what they gained from the program, how they changed in knowledge, what sort of career aspirations they have. And one of the things we learned from that, and that the leadership team has talked about, is we really want to connect back with the REU participants after a few years and see, hey, where are you at now? And where are you going? Because that is really important in terms of your experience here. So those of you who are sitting in this room, think about that. In a couple of years, we might be saying, hey, what are you doing? Where are you at now? Are you still interested in ag, or have you changed your career path? So then thank you to the farmers who participated in our survey. So one of the things that I just wanted to share with you is about what they kind of are hoping to gain from this experience. And I know that the farmers sitting in this room have already shared that. So I'm going to kind of do it at the 10,000 foot view. But one of the things that they think is really a good strength of this farmer to farmer network is just the ability to communicate and network, not only with researchers, but also with other farmers, because it's learning from each other and sharing those knowledges and learning those different skills and techniques. It's really going to help them make changes on their farms that they need to make changes with. And so it is that new knowledge that you guys are sharing, those new strategies that you're talking about, or the data that's going to influence their practices that they hope to implement. And so they're coming to this project looking for things that they hope to be able to implement, as well as knowing that these things might help improve the regional agriculture practices. So just having an understanding and having this information and the knowledge that's coming out of these discussions in this project is really what they're looking forward to. The other thing that we did is we asked them how they get their information. And so you can see with a few participants that we had, because the network is kind of small, and that's okay. But these are where they get their information. So they get it from other producers. So it's important that the project is reaching out to other producers. They also look at university publications, reports, and fact sheets, as well as social media platforms. So those are kind of the top places where they go to get their information. And so as you're thinking about where do we as a project need to go to push our information out, this is where they're going. And so the farm to farmer network is really valuable because farmers get information from other farmers. So having this network is really valuable. So some of the things we asked them some big, broader things. But one of the things that the project is doing well is sharing information and providing integrated resources with the farm to farmer network. So you guys are doing a great job of sharing that information, sharing integrated information as well. And so keep doing that, keep sharing that information. Some of the things that were maybe something to focus on, or maybe just a little bit of a disconnect, is that only a few of the network members were able to note progress towards your outcomes. And that's a little bit harder. Here's the information, but what is it doing, right? So they couldn't necessarily see that it was addressing challenges or make the connections that it's increasing awareness and increasing understanding in some of these bigger areas. And so that's probably a gap or an area to improve, to say, okay, yeah, we're sharing this information, but how is it connecting to those outcomes so that they can see those connections and they can see that you are doing great things in terms of those outcomes. It doesn't mean it's not happening, it just means that there might just be a disconnect in what the information means. Okay, so the other thing we did is we looked at publication. And one of the neat things about doing this is we can kind of see how the dissemination of the project work is going now. And so we can say, through looking at your publications, that the project is transferring knowledge across the United States and even across the world. And so we were able to get 14 publications. So Chuck, I have 4 more publications than you did. I was able to find 14 publications. We looked this up in a digital Scopus network that the state has. And these 14 publications with the RAIN project had 33 non-self-citing works. And so you can see that the project has 50 unique authors across 19 states citing publications coming out of this project, and 190 authors from across 16 countries citing publications. And this is baseline. So this is only in year 3 with 14 publications. And the idea is that this will grow and the dissemination of this project information will expand out across the United States and across the world. The other thing that we can do with publications is we can look at attention online. And so the project is increasing awareness and sharing project knowledge through various online platforms. So we had 8 publications that have an attention score. So that means that people are talking about it online. One of them has quite a high level of attention. I looked it up and I think it's one of Bob Chambers when it comes to the economic side of things, because people are really interested in how this affects the economy and how farmers, what's the risk benefit of that. We also have Twitter reach, and so we had 24 users tweet about publications, and you can see the reach is over 32,000 people. So we can kind of see the reach of that. And then we have another thing we can do is we can look at these citing research categories. And so what that shows us is the, it's okay. So the citing research categories, what that does is it shows us the interdisciplinary nature of your work and the publications. And we had earth sciences, environmental sciences, and engineering were the top citing research categories for the publications. And of course, that will just continue to grow. And you'll be able to see how are the publications that you're creating out of this project reaching other disciplines, and how do they find it valuable? So we also talked to leadership, and these are kind of preliminary data. We're still working on the analysis of this, but in terms of progress, they really feel like the project has done a great job making adjustments and being flexible, especially with the COVID situation, trying to get out into the field, trying to get RUs. I mean, it created a lot of challenges, but the project has made some great adjustments. And even now, as you guys are thinking of, okay, we're midterm, what do the farmers need? What kind of adjustments do we need to make? And that's a great thing about this project and the strength of this project is its ability to be flexible. They also feel like they've done great progress in field work as well as with the students. In terms of integration, a lot of the integration is happening with the students. And then the leadership said, we need more integration with the team. We need more in-person meetings so that integration can happen across the team. So it's not only just happening with the students, but with other people. In terms of impacts, the new knowledge was an impact. Prioritizing the farmer-to-farmer network is something that they really want to focus on for year 4 in terms of expanding impacts on that. And then, so it is still kind of early for some of them to think, oh yeah, within the field information that there's impacts there. And then in terms of sustainability, just the dissemination of project work and tools, strengthening the collaborations that are happening in this room as well as with the farmers, and then looking for ways to leverage funds so we can continue this work. So I just have 2 more slides. Observations, the RAIN project, this is the outcomes. This is the 10,000-foot view. What are you guys doing? You are increasing quality training and mentoring opportunities for both students and researchers, as well as improving students' engagement in research. And both of these things are happening through the REU program, as well as with the postdocs and the graduate students who are working on this project. The RAIN project is fostering engagement and collaboration opportunities between researchers and producers with the farmer-to-farmer network and other outreach activities. And we heard a lot about that with the outreach group, which Jason, I'm going to force you to help me document some of that. So I'm hearing a lot of stuff where I'm like, wait, all this stuff is happening and I don't even know about it. But yeah, there's a lot of great outreach that's happening through this project, and as well as with the farmer-to-farmer network. The other thing is that the project is advancing research and increasing knowledge and awareness through a variety of dissemination efforts. So not only through your publications, but also through social media, and of course the outreach events and with students. So all of that stuff is happening with this project. So what are our recommendations for the evaluation? What do you guys need to focus on? Well, build on what you're doing. You guys are doing some great things. So one of the things I would recommend is go back to your logic model, revisit your project goals, make adjustments if you need to, right? Like after this meeting, if you've realized, hey, this outcome or these goals need to be tweaked or refined because of what we're hearing from our farmers, revisit them, retweak them. Find ways to be intentional with integration. I know that we really want it to happen, and I know the leadership team really wants it to happen, and we've had some strategic breakout sessions this meeting to be intentional about an integration, but that's something that really needs to happen with this project, is getting everybody together and doing that integration, not only with your teams and across teams, but also with your stakeholders. So it's that intentionality that's going to be important to ensure that that integration is happening. Continue providing those opportunities for students and make sure that those opportunities are meaningful. They want to make sure, they want to know that what they're doing is contributing to something, and that makes their experience that much more valuable. So ensure that those things are meaningful. Help them understand the scope of agriculture majors and careers. I know that in the survey, they just didn't realize, right? Like, wow, I didn't know that agriculture spanned these types of careers and this type of work, and how interesting that is. And then also just enhancing that communication and feedback with the students throughout their experience. The other recommendation is just to continue to promote more collaboration and engagement with the Farmer to Farmer Network. You guys have already been talking about that, talking about how we can do that. So maintain that, keep sharing information, keep building those stakeholders' understanding of not only the information coming out of the project, but how it connects to those outcomes so that they can understand where this information, what the goal of this information is, like what the long-term goal is. And then just continue to reinforce and strengthen those relationships. And then finally, just continue to disseminate, continue to push out those publications, continue to push things out online, continue to do your outreach events. That's the way that the project information is going to get out to others. So with that, there's a team member survey following this meeting. So you will probably be getting an email for that survey. So just be on the lookout for that. We really want to make sure that we get some good information about where you think the project is at related to its progress, your experiences with collaboration, as well as any impacts that you're having. Impacts are not always related to people outside this room. Sometimes the change happens here, and that impact then moves forward to the next project or to the next place. So it isn't always just in this room or outside this room that you are trying to get impact. Sometimes it's the people sitting right here in this room. We're going to continue finalizing our bibliometric and altmetric analysis. We are doing a social network analysis that is related to the co-author network. And so those publications, all the co-authors that were on those publications, we're going to do social network analysis of where those authors are located, what institutions they're at. So that's in process. And then we're going to be determining what our year 4 evaluation activities are. And Adam and I were actually talking about it last night after the meeting, thinking that really what would be valuable for this project at this point in time is to start having some targeted focus groups with the objective teams to really get in deep about what's happening, what impacts are these different objectives having within, and how do they see the integration occurring across the project. So that is what we are talking about. We aren't quite finalized on that, but we will be thinking about what's going to be the most impactful use of our work for this upcoming year. So with that,
Thanks, LeAnn.
yeah.